Japanese pitcher Masahiro Tanaka, who went 24-0 with a 1.27 ERA last season for the Rakuten Eagles, wants to join the major leagues, but his team doesn't want to let him go. I'm Kerry Chow, joined by ESPN senior baseball writer Buster Olney. Buster, what's the likelihood that Tanaka joins the major leagues?
I think it's likely that eventually he'll pitch in the big leagues, and I think it'll be in 2014. I think what you have going on here is negotiating. Because his team knows that eventually he's going to wind up in the United States, and I think by handling it the way that they have, by saying, you know what, we want him to come back before he goes into free agency, we prefer to keep him. I think that keeps their leverage up. And what I've been told by sources here is that some of the other teams in Japan have kicked around the idea of trying to create almost like a kitty of more money beyond the $20 million posting fee that they would get, and that may eventually happen. So I do think that this is just part of negotiations, and especially now that Tanaka has come out publicly, I think he's trying to wield his leverage as well. It just has that feel of eventually they'll work something out.
Which teams at this point would be the favorites to then sign him?
Well, it's interesting because, of course, with a $20 million posting fee that's out there, it would be a shock if 30 out of 30 teams don't indicate a willingness to give a $20 million posting fee because, of course, it costs them nothing to do that. And, in fact, if they don't do it, then they're going to look like they're not trying. So you're going to hear about 30 teams saying, yeah, we'll give the $20 million posting fee. But what it really comes down to is which team is going to be the most willing to pay the most money. And we'll get a feel also for what Tanaka wants. We know the Yankees would be interested because they're looking for young pitching and they need help in their rotation. We know that the Chicago Cubs are going to be interested. A lot of executives around baseball think that that is the Cubs' most significant target because they have a group of young players. Their time frame is probably a couple years away when they can compete. So by getting Tanaka, he fits that at his age. You wonder about the Seattle Mariners, who we've seen this winter are all in. The Los Angeles Dodgers seemingly have one more spot in the rotation if they're not the team to trade for David Price. So I think it's going to be pretty significant bidding for a pitcher who, scouts are telling me projects to be more of a number 2, number 3 type starter.
Interesting. Outside of the posting fee, what kind of deal might Tanaka command? We look at the previous guys like Daisuke Matsuzaka, $52 million, Yu Darvish, $56 million. What might Tanaka command?
Well, the good thing for Tanaka is that he doesn't have the posting fee weighing on what he was going to get. He's a free agent as opposed to those guys, so I think he has a chance to get a lot more than those guys in terms of dollars. Because, when Daisuke Matsuzaka, for example, the Red Sox posted $51 million for the negotiating rights, and then Matsuzaka's choice was either go back to Japan or make a deal with the Red Sox, and they held his feet to the fire. Well, in this case, Tanaka is going to be able to use all the teams against them. So if you look at the free agent deals in recent seasons, Edwin Jackson got 4 years, $52 million. He's going to get north of that because he's viewed as a better pitcher. I think he'll wind up getting something between, $60 million and $100 million. I don't think anybody on spec would give him a deal in the range of, the Cole Hamels, pitchers along those lines. I think that he's going to get a lot of money, though, and a lot more than either Matsuzaka got or Yu Darvish got.
Interesting. And for those who don't know, what kind of pitcher does Tanaka remind others of?
Well, he's more of the phrase I've heard from scouts is he's more of a fastball-type pitcher. Yu Darvish, we've seen, it's like he's got 25 different pitches. Matsuzaka was the same way when he came over here. And what I've heard from scouts is that Tanaka works more off his fastball than those guys do. And as I say, the projections I hear from scouts are that he's more of a number 2 or number 3 type starter. They don't think he's going to be as good as a Darvish, but what really works for him in terms of how much money he's going to get is his age. Because most of the free agents here are, 28, 29, 30 years old, like Irvin Santana, Ubaldo Jimenez, and you have Tanaka in his mid-20s.
Wow. All right. Well, stay tuned to find out where Tanaka ends up landing. That's ESPN senior MLB writer Buster Olney. I'm Kerry Chow with your latest ESPN headline.